Fast food workers, what menu item should everyone avoid from where you work? The ice machine. They don't get cleaned as often as you'd hope. I briefly worked as a sales rep for an ice machine company, and more often than not they are fucking filthy. The problem is no one wants to pay for it to be cleaned, let alone clean it themselves. Convenience store owners are much better about keeping regular maintenance on their machines because the amount of usage is so much higher than just about anywhere else. Also, beer lines at some bars. Dude. This right here. I used to run kegs at a big beer place and they had a cycler to clean those things. They would run on tap lines. When I asked the guy who did it, he was like, these things gunk up all the time and we are the minority in cleaning them in comparison to the places around here. He was one of those, if you don't know the place, buy it in the bottles types. I live in Vermont. A beer enthusiast's mecca. There is one local brewer that is notorious for getting on bars that carry his beer. He will literally stop in unannounced and look at the quality of your coolers and tap lines. He will also look at the bar's records for when the lines were last clean. If he doesn't like it, he will pull his beer on the spot. His brewery is known as one of, if not the best in the world. He will make sure it stays like that. In Burlington, Vermont area, the biggest city in Vermont, there are probably about 25 to 30 bars. Only 4 carry his beer on tap, and I think only 2 others carry his beer in bottles only. He's always been known as having incredibly high standards with everything. He has some serious OCD with his beer and has rubbed some people wrong along the way with it, but the results speak for themselves. At Dunkin, I'd say everything is fine except frozen drinks made with the old Island Oasis machine. My store now has a Vitamix blender, but the old machine was never cleaned well enough. Donuts suck there now. IDK what happened in the last 5 years, but they taste like crap now. And they are nowhere near what they used to be. No jelly, no cream, crappy donut taste. They're not fresh anymore. They get made off-site and trucked in. They don't even want to sell donuts. They want out of that business, that's why they changed their name. They want to be a coffee shop like Starbucks. If you have peanut allergies, don't get drinks from Sonic. They do not care about cross-contamination at all. If you go to a McDonald's that has a shake machine that is always working, don't get a shake there. If you go to one that is always broken, it's perfectly safe to get a shake there. The reason the machine is down so often is because it has a really long cleaning cycle that needs to be done frequently. We always ran our cleaning cycle at night. But we weren't a 24-hour store. I used to work at a Froyo shop. If you see a topping and think I've never thought of that being a topping for Froyo, you probably aren't alone. Things like Fruity Pebbles were just put back out every morning, getting older and older because no one ate them. Worked Circle K for 3 years, coffee is surprisingly good and machines were well maintained, but the cappuccino iced coffee machine was disgusting and impossible to clean despite best efforts, lots of tiny parts where powdered drink mix could sit and rot. My location was next to a university and we had a regular who was an engineering professor. Once he came in and watched while I was trying to clean the cappuccino machine, and said he should use it in class as an example of poor design. They don't have them anymore, but when I worked at Arby's, the barbecue was the one thing I would never eat. That sauce would sometimes be 2 months old, I'm not kidding. Whenever I handed an order to a customer who ordered one, I would say, "Here you go." Not enjoy your food. I went to Arby's once and asked for a lemonade for my drink, and the lady on the speaker was begging me to not get the lemonade and told me it was nasty. I still wonder to this day how nasty it was for them to tell me not to order it. Man. When they say not all heroes wear capes, they're referring to that Arby's queen. As someone who has tried to find the motivation to start a diet recently, this thread is perfect. Thank you, good Reddit. I worked at Chuck E. Cheese years ago, and while the pizza was good and safe, it's pretty tough to screw up pizza, but the salad bar would be a pass. Adults and kids would just toss the tongs and spoons all over the salad bar, letting the handles fall into the food, getting all the different vegetables and dressings mixed together. All this at one of the grossest places on earth, where they are putting their hands all over video games, the ball pit, pizza, and around again. At the end of the night, then we would flip all of the salad bar vegetables over into fresh containers and top them off for the next day. They did get thrown out every few days. If employees ever made ourselves a salad, we would make it from the ingredients in the fridge that were not yet out on the bacteria bar. Just the thought of a salad bar at a place like Chuck E. Cheese is enough to make me gag. Spuck's barista here, do not get any iced oleato drinks. It just doesn't work, and olive oil in coffee was already a big stretch. The hot latte is actually not too bad and tastes a little bit like Cheerios, but the oil almost instantly separates from the rest of the drink when it's iced, which is no bueno. I worked at Jimmy John's for almost 7 years, and they are obsessive about keeping things clean, to the point they go through a 8-ish page packet of cleaning lists each day, and all food items are super fresh and labeled to be used within 24 to 72 hours. The only thing I would not eat from there is the bacon because it comes cold and it's just kind of unpleasant lol. I run a JJ. My tablet makes me sign off on everything being clean. It's a huge hassle, but at least I know it's getting done. Especially the ice machine, which everyone keeps commenting about. There's also the projections that no other restaurant I've worked at has in order to make sure we make only what we need that day. It's actually really clean, especially for a fast food restaurant. I don't work in fast food, but I have a buddy who fixes and services fountain soda machines. Never ever drink fountain soda. The hoses that the syrup runs through are never cleaned and rarely changed. He says they are stained and or have mold. My buddy says the insides of fountain soda machines are usually disgusting. Former Disney CM here. I worked in foods for the last 1.5 years I was there. I can honestly say that you should be comfortable eating or drinking anything from the parks. Obviously, it's not health food, but from a food safety perspective, Disney is super diligent. Ice machines are cleaned regularly, at least once a week. Same with beer tap and soda lines, they are flushed weekly. Of course, things occasionally happen, and something can go wrong, but as soon as it's noticed, it's addressed. There have been times when items have been pulled from every location because there was an issue with a single item at a different location in another park. Disney can't afford a hit to its reputation, so they don't take chances. Given what they charge, they better not be cutting corners. There's way too much Wendy's chili slander here. MFS here don't know what chili is, it's not supposed to be a fresh. It's a stew that simmers and sits, made from leftover ingredients that would otherwise be wasted, that's the whole fucking point. And as someone who made it for a short while in high school, it's completely fine. The thing to avoid at Wendy's are the salads, but I'd assume that's a given for every fast food restaurant. Any sandwich from Starbucks? No, we don't make anything in-house. It's shipped out to us frozen and we just reheat it in the oven for you $. Those sandwiches are something you eat when you have literally no other option other than going hungry until lunch. Usually in airport terminals. There have been a couple ask me anything threads on here with health inspectors, and time again they'll mention that if a restaurant, such as a buffet, smells like almonds, they have a roach problem. Any restaurant that has an ice cream machine are at high risk of roaches. How about we avoid all fast food until they fix their prices?